There's so many shiny things out there in the internet, webinars to do this, or, I can help you get, 6 figures. But at the end of the day, if it's not the life you want, why go after it? Go after the life you really want and the business you really want. Design it the way that you believe will make you the happiest.
You're listening to The Successful Bookkeeper with your host, Michael Palmer. Listen each week as inspiring guests share their secrets of success to help you increase your confidence, work smarter, and build a business you love. This episode of The Successful Bookkeeper is brought to you by PureBookkeeping.com, the proven system to grow your bookkeeping business.
Welcome back to the Successful Bookkeeper Podcast. I'm your host, Michael Palmer, and today's show is going to be a fun one. Our guest is a small business owner, QuickBooks Pro advisor, and Pure Bookkeeping licensee who has 20 years of accounting experience. Shannon Lavender, welcome to the show.
Hi there. Thanks for having me.
It's great to have you. And I'm looking forward to getting into this conversation with you about your business journey and where things have led. But before we get into all of that, please tell us a little bit about you and your career journey leading up to this point where you're doing what you're doing today.
Okay. Well, I'm in Vancouver, British Columbia, Canada. I started doing accounts receivable and payroll like 25 years ago. And I worked basically in the real estate development industry for many years. And then I was doing the Certified General Accounting program, working on that. And then I moved from real estate development into investment industry, which is highly regulatory. And that became very challenging and sort of burnt me out. So about 2015, I was looking to change things up and do different things with my life. And I started learning about cloud bookkeeping, which was exciting, and working remotely. And it kind of just naturally fell into possibly having a bookkeeping business. And then a couple of years ago, a bookkeeper who was retiring reached out and asked if I would take over her clients. And so I basically did that. And now I'm just sort of revamping her systems and modernizing things and growing my business right now.
Wow. Very cool. Very cool. And what's it like? What's it been like taking over that company?
The transition went really well, but the technology she's using or was using is a lot older than what I like to use. So I've been trying to modernize things. Her clients are still very paper-based and very, they don't have up-to-date bookkeeping yet. It's all just like they bring it at the end of the quarter and that type of thing. So I have kind of a hybrid right now. I have my other clients that are more remote and cloud-based. And then I have these ones that are kind of older school clients. So it's been an interesting experience. I'm kind of juggling between different softwares. So I'm just learning to streamline everything. And her clients are great. I mean, they're all really good people and they're really organized. So that part is great.
It's interesting when you would take over another person's business. I mean, you just really don't know what you're getting. There could have been, from a client perspective, you're not sure. It sounds like it's turned out, but when you started looking at taking over another business, what kind of thoughts or considerations did you have to make?
Well, my biggest concern was I wanted access to the books. So I worked with the previous bookkeeper for a few months and saw what she did, got a feel for her systems, and I was happy to see she was very organized. I did, when I first was getting into cloud accounting, I took on a client who I thought would be helpful for me to take some of the skills I just newly learned, but I didn't know what shape their books were going to be in. And when I walked in there, it turned out that they hadn't been entered at all. Everything had been handwritten on pieces of paper. So then I had all this 2 or 3 years of stuff that I had to actually input before I could even do the work that I was hoping to be doing and learning. So I learned from that experience that before I commit, I need to look at their books and see what kind of mess they might be in to decide if it's a good fit for me or not.
That's an interesting one. I'm sure is proven to help a lot now that you've learned that lesson.
Yes, it was a tough lesson to learn and it set me back a wee bit, but it's also a good experience because now I know what I do not want to be doing.
No doubt. And were there any surprises when you took over the new business?
Well, we had a situation that unfortunately where one of her clients she had for 20 years sold the business. So I inherited the client file, but with new owners, which turned into a bit of a problem for me. They changed their fiscal year end without even consulting me. So that was the first thing they did. So they moved it up by 5 months into one of my already busy quarters. And then they changed tax accountants. They changed the system that they wanted to use. They changed the chart of accounts. So that was very challenging experience. But other than that, almost everybody else has been very smooth transition.
Oh, very good. Very good. With you starting your business, looking back, what were the major obstacles that you encountered?
The major obstacles that I encountered were, some of them are personality driven. In the past, when I was going to build my business, I would take on these part-time contracts. And then because I had a good rapport with the client, they would ask more and more of my time. So instead of building other business, I would focus more and more energy into these one or two clients. And then when the contract would end, I'd be scrambling to find something to fill the void. So now I'm very particular about not taking on anything that's going to take more than so many hours a week of my time, and not committing to one client necessarily anymore. Because I did that twice. I think that happened to me. And so, twice I've had to kind of step back and kind of start looking for new opportunities. So the last, I'd say 2.5 years now, like when I got it, or when that person contacted me, I was starting to just get a few clients through one of the tax accountants I work with. And so now I'm just slowly, I think I have about 20 clients currently.
So when you were getting started, what was your main way of attracting clients into your business?
Mostly I have always received clients by word of mouth, traditionally, because of my work. I mean, working in real estate development is a small community in Vancouver, so I have lots of contacts. So a lot of times I just would reach out to 5 or 6 of my contacts in the industry, and before I knew it, there would be something would come up to me that way. The other clients I reached mostly through tax accountants as well, like CPAs, that type of thing. When I work with one, I have 2 or 3 I've worked with over the last few years. And so they're always reaching out and asking if I have a room for new clients because they like the work I do. So those are sort of the main ways I've been doing it currently. I haven't done a huge amount of marketing right now. I'm trying to focus on getting my pure bookkeeping system set up properly before I use the marketing tools to find more clients.
Interesting. I mean, it's a smart move. You're working on foundation of your business so that you can scale.
Right.
We'll get back to the interview right after this word from our sponsor. Do you have clients using outdated and inefficient manufacturing software? If so, it's not fun. It slows down production, holds up orders, and worst of all, it can mess up the all-important numbers. Katana is here to help. With real-time data syncing for production, inventory, and accounting data, manufacturers get complete visibility over every inch of their business, and their numbers stay up to date even as orders come in. Katana also offers integrations with QuickBooks Online and Xero, which is helpful for your clients and you, their bookkeeper. Katana is excited to be offering an exclusive deal to all the successful bookkeepers out there. If you sign up for their partner program and refer clients before April 30th, they will get 30% off the first 3 months of their Katana subscription. You'll also earn a 20% revenue share for every client you invite. Head to thesuccessfulbookkeeper.com/Katana to learn more. Thank you for hearing from our sponsor. Now let's get back to the interview. So tell me a little bit about the journey with Pure Bookkeeping. What had you look at Pure Bookkeeping? What was it of interest to you for?
So I guess I'll preface this with, in April 2020, my father passed away from cancer, which was a very devastating loss for me and a devastating experience. And then after his passing, I started contemplating my own life plans and my own systems, and realized that if I wasn't here, that who would take care of everything? My business, my clients, and that there wasn't consistency with my files. So then there was a summit that you had, I think in 2021 maybe, that I joined and was listening to other people talk about the product. And then I thought, well, this might be a really great way for me to get systems in place, force me to make manuals, force me to systemize. And my goal is to have it so that anybody that I hire, or if I were to sell the business, can easily just step in and take the reins. So basically, it's more of a fascination with having things in order if and when I pass, right? Is sort of what drove me to this initially. And then I've enjoyed it because of the network and the people I've connected with, the sharing of ideas with some of the other licensees, encouragement from everybody. It's definitely a collaborative community, which I love.
Lovely. Well, my condolences to you and your family and losing your father, and thank you for sharing. That's an interesting thought process that drove you to take action, and
yes.
Really the legacy and future planning of your business and mitigation of risk. Really, when it comes to your systems, and definitely you're not alone. When I talk to Pure Bookkeeping licensees, they do have a fascination with getting it done right, getting it done efficiently, having things organized. What did you notice when you started implementing a system like that, where it's a rigorous system? Did you find a challenge with it? What was it like implementing?
At first, it was daunting, I'll be honest. It seemed a bit overwhelming at first when I started looking. I mean, it was very helpful. The steps and the manuals are great, but I was getting stuck in the sort of black and white of it and just being like, okay, I have to do things this way and it has to be done in a certain way and only this way. But when I talked to some of the other licensees in the networking, they shared a few little tips about certain things that they do. But as long as you're consistent and it's in your manuals, even if you make small changes to how you want, say, your file structure to be a little bit different, that gave me freedom to realize, okay, I can tweak it a little bit. I don't have to be forcing myself into using it in a way that maybe I can't get my head around. And then what I started to do, instead of getting caught up in the sort of A to Z of things, I started, when I was working on a particular client file that had a priority, I would implement the system as best I could for that client using the manual and setting up the folders. So that's been very helpful for me. And now as it gets more consistent across all of the clients, it's getting smoother all the time for me to be able to remember the filing system and where I should find documents. And I love that almost everything's addressed by somebody in the community. So even if there's something you're unsure about, you can ask in the community Facebook group how it's done, and then how they do it, or if they know, can suggest somebody, and they often will suggest somebody who's already been a licensee for a couple of years and has a great system. And so again, we're back to the collaboration, which I find really helpful.
Very, very exciting. And certainly love hearing stories like this, where it's sometimes hard for people to get their mind wrapped around systems. Like, what is a system? Why is it important? And even people that, like yourself, are like, I've had conversations with people who's like, well, why would I need to document and systematize if I'm a solo bookkeeper? And now you are really thinking about the long term. You're building your business. You may add staff and all that good stuff. But even before that, what you've just said is, and what we hear time and time again, is that when it gets put into a system and you've documented things, you know where everything is, you almost don't have to think anymore. You just go through, you do it. Now, some people, I like to think. And it's like, it's not that you're not thinking, but all the repetitive stuff, the things that you would have to look up or try and remember, that goes away. So your productivity improves, and it leads to more freedom and satisfaction and literally a little bit more sanity, quite frankly, in your business. Have you experienced that?
I was going to say for sure, the low-level anxiety of doing this work. I think when you don't have systems in place, it's always there. The panic of, have I forgot something? Did I do that? Where is it? What have I done? Like, even if you're not really thinking about it, it's there. And I've noticed the further along I get in the system, the less of that anxiety feeling I have, or that uncertainty about where I'm at with things. And it's amazing. Just that alone has already made a huge improvement for me. And I just expect that to get better and better, because, as you say, when you have a lot on your mind, you can't even focus that well on one thing. Your mind's being pulled in 5 different directions, right?
Absolutely.
And I feel there's a bit of that type of, unfortunately, personality traits, I guess, that, attract me to this industry. I love the accounting ability to be able to fix problems for people and make things better. But I also have to learn that there's a certain point where I need to be doing them for me so that my systems are in place. Because I've done that. I've worked in, like I said, when I worked in the investment industry, I set up systems and everything with a company, worked with them for 5 years, and then they merged with a larger firm, and then that position was gone and everything went into boxes, and their system that they used was 10 years old. So I felt like I'd done all this work and for what, for just to go in a box in somebody's, storage place for, the next 20 years or whatever it was going to be. So I started thinking, I'd love to be able to use my knowledge and experiences to create something that has lasting potential and can be used going forward, right?
Yes, absolutely. And it from a solo person doing the work, it then also, now it puts your business into a scalable setup, because now you can train others to do the work. All of that's outside of your head, it's now in the system, and you can work it. We'll get back to the interview right after this word from our sponsor. Wouldn't it be amazing if your bookkeeping business ran like a world-class franchise, like a Starbucks or an Apple store? One where the business literally runs itself. You and your staff would have documented training, systems, and processes to find the clients, price the clients, convert the clients, onboard the clients, service the clients, manage the clients, find the staff, qualify the staff, hire the staff, train the staff, manage the staff. Whew, wouldn't that be a lot easier? But then what if alongside that you had a community of other bookkeeping business owners that you could mastermind with, ask questions, support, and be supported along your journey? That would likely accelerate the success of your business, right? And what if you didn't have to pay tens of thousands of dollars to purchase the franchise, pay franchise fees, give up control and ownership of your business? Instead, just pay a simple monthly fee starting at $295 a month to access everything you need to scale your business. Systems for the sales, marketing, hiring, and technical bookkeeping, workflow and CRM software to manage it all, and a community to support you. That's Pure Bookkeeping. For over a decade, we've been helping thousands of bookkeepers grow their business by providing the systems and processes so you can run your business like a world-class business. Stop the trial and error game and start implementing the proven systems that will give you back your freedom, increase your income, and bring you peace of mind. Check out purebookkeeping.com for more information. That's purebookkeeping.com. Thank you for hearing from our sponsor. Now let's get back to the interview. I just literally had a conversation with actually one of our licensees in Australia. We have licensees in the United States, Canada, and Australia. And I was having a similar conversation, and I was curious to her. I said, well, what's been her savings in time in doing the work? And I don't know if you've done any thinking or thought around that, but for her, it was an actual 15% reduction in the amount of time it takes for each client to do the work on a monthly basis. So quite a
Uh-huh.
remarkable return. Like often we're not that interested in saving time, right? Like it's like we want more time or we want more money. We're not save money. I don't want to save money. I want to spend money, make more money, or want more time, not less time. But really the time that it's saved, that 15% of time, it's either capacity. Now she's got extra capacity. She could do more work, maximize her income, or it's free time that she could, I've got 15% more time to work, be with my family, do the things I love, or it's 15% more time to work on the business and use that time to actually grow and scale her business. What about you? Have you noticed any kind of percentage or number around your improvement or efficiency?
I don't have an exact amount of time that it saves me, but I am finding that, before I started implementing systems, that during the busier times, like the middle of the month to the end of the month, are always a little more hectic. I was finding that things would take me maybe 25-30% longer than I think they were going to do. So I would budget, it's going to take me 2 hours. And then it took me 3.5, right? And now I'm noticing that a lot of times what I'm budgeting is actually on point. So I believe that's because I'm getting more efficient using the system.
Very interesting. Yes, that
Yes.
would be like you typically you think a job's going to take you 3 hours and it's now taking you 2,
Right.
because you actually you know that the systems are documented enough. You know what it's going to take, and you're actually able to do it based on what it should take.
Yeah, that's right. And then also gives me the opportunity going forward. I'm sort of, I had decided that for 6 months, I wouldn't take on any new clients. I would just focus on my systems and what I currently had in place and get myself comfortable, because I was feeling like I was taking on too many different things, which was also challenging. So now I'm a couple months left in that cycle of 6 months. And I feel like I'm on track now. So at that point, I think that I'll be able to. So ideally, I would like to keep my actual working hours under a certain amount a week, potentially, or maybe average it through the month, so that I can spend, more time during the week, either working on my business or doing some hobbies that I like to do. I haven't had my sewing machine out for a few years. It would be nice to get that out and do some things. Actually, I would like to do more networking again and facilitate some meetups and things like that. So now that, the restrictions are lifting and places are opening up again. So ideally, I would like to be able to spend maybe 10 or 15 hours a week doing things either that inspire or help me grow as a person, which makes me happy. And then that happiness can be put back into my business as well, if that makes any sense.
It makes complete sense. And good for you, and very refreshing to hear. And so that's for you, you're almost at that point. You've done the hard lifting and work to get you here. What do you see for your business in the future? Where are you headed with it?
So my dream is it kind of fluctuates a little bit. So originally my dream was to be in a position where I personally am and can create workshops and tutorials and help people with their business plans. But first of all, I need to have other people in place. So currently I'm looking at how do I hire and bring in the right team members to work in my business. I don't necessarily want a large staff, but I'm thinking 2 or 3 for now that could, to build and be sort of, I'd like some that's sort of like maybe one that's in payroll specialty, like kind of specializing in certain areas to bring them in, because those are areas that, I haven't done payroll training for many years because, things have changed dramatically, right? So it would be nice to bring in some younger, fresher mindsets to come in and help me sort of continue on with the automating of my system and getting things in place. And then I would really like to be able to spend more time helping the business owners more with understanding their business needs and helping them make decisions about their future. Because I feel there's nothing more exciting to me than a client when I'm reviewing something with them and I can see that they're getting it. Like the light goes on and they're like, oh, okay, that makes a lot of sense, right? And that's all is kind of exciting to me, as opposed to just, they just, oh, okay, yeah, that sounds good, So I love the collaboration there. So I think that's why I thought I'd like to create workshops for small business owners to get together, maybe once or twice every few months, get together and share ideas together about their bookkeeping needs or about their hopes for their financial side of their businesses.
I love that. And so needed. A guest that we had on just actually earlier this morning, I was recording it, and that was a big conversation around the stats. I can't remember exactly what the stats were, but they were high. The number of businesses that fail in 2 years and 6 years and
Oh, yeah.
and 10 years. It's almost in 10 years. I think it's almost 2/3 of business was a stat on the higher end. So
Wow.
2/3 of businesses that fail within 10 years. And he said the number one reason, there's several reasons, but the number one reason is the financials, not having financial clarity around their business, don't have that expertise to know, how to forecast, how to plan, how to, and that's the work that you and the rest of our community does. And the more you can do that is like, okay, here's the information, but how is that business owner using that information? What thinking are they putting around it? So it's very, very much needed in the industry.
That's my thought for sure. And especially in where I'm in BC, I'm not sure of the stats currently, but before COVID, they were saying that almost 60% of adults that are in living in BC were starting businesses. They were not going the employee route. They were actually wanting their own businesses, which is a huge percentage of the population. So if you think about that, obviously not all of them are going to follow through and not all of them are going to be successful, but it's exciting to think that there's that so many people want to be their own boss basically and have their own business and share what they are doing as opposed to going and working elsewhere.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Such a massive opportunity for this industry and very exciting and healthy. I love hearing stats like that. It's so the more those, some people are just not, like you said, never going to do it. It's just an idea, desire, wish, but many will, and they will have a good idea and they will have the will to get there, but without guidance from people like a great bookkeeper, they won't succeed, unfortunately. And so we need more people like you that know what you're doing, do a wonderful job of it, and are committed and passionate about helping those owners be successful.
Thank you. Yeah,
So
that's
that.
It's exciting to think about our industry as well, because one of the things I've learned in the last, say, 4 or 5 years with the bookkeeping community, they're all at different places. They all have different desires. And even when I talk to other licensees, some, they don't want to grow. They don't want to have staff. They want to do certain things a certain way. And then other people will have different dreams, but we're all very supportive with very, encouraging, I guess is the right word, but amongst ourselves. And then that leads me to believe that translates to their relationships with their clients as well, right? That they're giving them the same encouragement and helping them. And again, it doesn't have to be a cookie cutter approach, right? We're all individuals but at the base of it, obviously the base is having a system in place that is really straightforward and systematic for all of us, because that's the other thing too, is I know in our community, if you connect with 2 or 3 other people that are on the system, if you need help, they can easily, you can easily help each other because we're already using the same systems, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Well, I'm excited for you. I'd love to hear, you've been at this for a while. I'd love to hear what you would say to our listener, whatever stage they're at, some of the key things that they would want to think about in their business. So, any tips or suggestions around how they are thinking about their business?
My sort of number one advice to people at this point is design the business that you want and don't worry about what people think that business should look like. So that means decide what is successful for you. How many hours do you want to work a week? What do you only want to work from, an office, or do you want to have your work from home, or do you want to, do you miss having contact with clients? Do you want to work with specific industries? What are the things that make you happy and make you feel successful and fits in with your lifestyle? So if you want to go to school or take other courses, think about all of those things. And then the other thing I always say is figure out your budget from the start. So to start your business, how much revenue do you need to generate to get you to a certain point? And then, be realistic about that. And there's so many shiny things out there in the internet, webinars to do this, or, I can help you get, 6 figures. But at the end of the day, if it's not the life you want, why go after it? Go after the life you really want and the business you really want. Design it the way that you believe will make you the happiest.
Oh, great advice. Great advice. Design the life first and let the business fuel that life.
That's how I feel about it. Maybe it's age and wisdom and experience that's come. But, when I was younger, I drove myself in a different way. And when I think back to some of the things and choices I made and the long hours I worked and the things I did in the end, they didn't get me the life I was really needing or wanting. And I didn't know at that point what it was I wanted, I guess, and then now I'm like, I know what I want my life to look like. So that's my focus.
I love it. I love it. It's so fantastic. And it's been fantastic having you on the show, sharing your journey, and a privilege to be a part of your business journey. And thank you for your generosity and coming on the show and sharing a little window into your world and your business for our listener.
Well, thank you, Michael. I'm happy to share, and I hope that it helps somebody out there. Thanks again.
I think so. Well, thank you. And with that, we wrap another episode of the Successful Bookkeeper podcast. To learn more about today's guest and to get access to all sorts of valuable free business building resources, you can go to thesuccessfulbookkeeper.com. Until next time, goodbye.
You've been listening to The Successful Bookkeeper with Michael Palmer. For more information and to download the resources mentioned in this episode, please visit us at thesuccessfulbookkeeper.com. Thank you for listening.